evening, everybody, and welcome back to the Fallout Bar after night 3 now. We're flying through the weeks already of the 2026 PDC Premier League. Coming to you tonight from the OVO Hydro in Glasgow. Joined alongside me, Dan, back for another week. Skipped a week last week. I don't know what you're doing, out partying on a Thursday night, but good to see you back alongside me. How are you, mate?
I'm very good, mate. We've got the storylines starting to build up. It's Premier League every week. You've got to love it. It's brilliant.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's just rattling along with some fantastic performances. Really good night of action. Obviously, a little bit of an early start tonight. We've probably caught a few out with the early start, with Michael Van Gerwen having to withdraw, unfortunately, due to illness this week, depriving us of, to be honest, what would have been a really good game. The way that he started the tournament so far, him up against Luke Littler would have been a belter in the quarterfinal.
Yeah, you know what? It's a shame we lost out. I mean, not to get into it, but Luke's probably very happy to have a bye there, and that's one he'll happily take the 2 points and move on from for sure, because Van Gerwen's had an interesting start of this year, and I might be early on the Van Gerwen's back tree, and it's definitely what the brain wants.
We were on it last week. We were fully on it last week when you weren't here.
Yeah, you know, we have lost out there. Hopefully he's backfiring again and back for next week.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Like, because we're saying it, like having him back and competing and in finals every week on the Premier League and playing back towards his best, still not maybe quite there, but playing at a level where he can actually compete with the Lukes and everyone else. It's just better for Darts. It's better all round if we've got him in there and them playing well. So hopefully we do see him back. And yeah, probably, like you say, it's one for Littler tonight that he'd absolutely take that, because probably for the first time in Littler's professional career, he would have been going into a game thinking, I'm not potentially the big favourite here against Van Gerwen, which he has been every time they've rocked up against each other pretty much. Yeah,
and I feel like Michael, up until probably the last 12 months, Michael's was one of the few players that hasn't feared Littler. I feel like Littler has kind of took over their head-to-heads in recent times. But when he first burst on the scene, I always got the impression that probably up until the World Final where Littler beat him, Michael had that little bit of arrogance. Like, I've been star boy as well. Yeah. I know how this works. And I think that kind of started to fade, but with his form coming back, see a little bit of reignition of that. I was looking forward to it.
Yeah, it definitely felt like he's been back the last couple of weeks, and obviously he's got the win over him last week as well. Like, it just feels like he's there and ready to prove a point again. So yeah, hopefully we'll see him back next week and back to it, and that he's fit and well and ready to go. We'll get straight into it then for tonight then, and we'll start off first game of the night. And we've said it already. We've joked about it off screen as well. Like, Stephen Bunting, where is a win going to come from? Because it's getting tougher and tougher every week to sort of pick one ourselves. And it must feel that way for him. Like, he must be at a point now where he's going, where am I going to get a win from? Because the longer it goes on, we know it gets harder. The pressure increases. And 6-3 loss to Jan van Veen today. And he's played all right again, but he's just not at the level that he needs to be. And we know how good Jan is. He played well today, but he just didn't really give Bunting a chance.
I think the problem, and I do feel bad for Bunting, because look, all he's done is say yes to playing in the Premier League. Everyone would do that unless you're a certain Mr. Anderson. Let's be completely frank. But when I watch Bunting, I think after 3 legs, Van Veen might have been 101. Bunting was 99. It was really close. But I just can't see how he gets over the line in them close games.
Well, that's it. Even at that point, he's lost 2 breaks a throw against him at that point. And yes, he got one of them back in between, but you're just putting yourself in trouble. Like, it's all well and good winning the ball, but if you can't hold early on, so what?
Yeah, as I say, I don't want this to become a Bunting kicking fest or slagging fest, but unless somebody rocks up and has an absolute stinker of a performance against him, I just don't see how he's going to take a game off the other 7.
You mean like Johnny Clayton did last week when Johnny Clayton
was it a 4-0 start he gave him?
Yeah, he's averaging 80 and getting absolutely pummeled for the first 4 legs, and then went and won 6-4. But to be honest, Bunting didn't really do anything wrong there either. Johnny was just sensational for the next 6. And he does keep coming up against that. But at some point, you've got to raise it and do it yourself.
That's the problem. I feel like the other 7 have that sensational gear. And Bunting has a very good gear, but it isn't what the other 7 have.
He's also just not finding his top level at any point. Like, he's playing well week in, week out. He's not playing great.
Yeah. And the longer that goes on, I mean, look, he'll get a win at some point. He can't go north for 17, surely. But
yeah, I mean, we sort of said that last year, didn't we? We were like, it can't keep going on. And in the end, he obviously won a night as well. And sort of, it will click in 1 week at least. He's too good of a player for it not to, regardless of the fact that whether we think he should be in there or how it's going for him. He is too good of a player not to win games on this stage.
Yeah, but I can't ever see him doing it consistently. And
no.
As I say, that might sound harsh, but if we study the form guide and what we've seen in the past, I haven't seen anything to suggest Bunting can turn this around.
I don't see any way that he finishes higher than 7th. Like, that's his ceiling in this Premier League. Like, if he finishes 7th, he's had a good year.
Yeah, that's as good as it's going to get.
And to be honest, that's probably bigger credit to the rest of the field as much as it is. Like, it's not a dig at him. We're not having a kick at him, but it keeps happening. It happened last year. It's happening again. Like, and that's the problem. Like, and that was my reservation with him being in there to start with. He's got to find something. He's got to find one of those games. Like, we've seen him do it before. He can average 110. He can average 115 when he's on it. But he's got to go and do it. And he's got to go and prove that he can do it on this stage. And
yeah,
you look at, like, Jan, as much as he's a world finalist and he is a major champion and he is everything that he is, he's a debutant on this stage. And it's his first year. He's one of them players that he should be looking at going, I'm going to show him how it's done up here. I've been up here, I've done it. And he's got played off the board.
He has. I mean, what really impresses me about Jan is he just seems mentally so solid. Maybe not, because he does show frustration, but it doesn't seem to affect the next 3 darts.
No.
Like, you can physically see it. You know, he's throwing his shoulder out. He's trying to figure it out. But his ability to just reset and throw the next 3 darts, for someone his age, is so impressive. As I say, I think Littler has spoiled us.
Yeah.
As far as young dart players, he's completely broke the mold. But the way Jan is just broke into the top of the world scene, and as I say, that could have been a really tricky night against Bunting, throwing a 100 average. Jan started a bit slow. He seemed like he was really struggling, and
he was struggling with, like, it being cold up there. It seemed he was constantly blowing on his hands, and like, it is tough. Like, Dan Simpson's been on before. He's been in my house. My house gets cold at times. Like, when I try and practice cold, like, it's very hard to throw the dart consistently. But yeah, he seemed like he didn't feel all that comfortable up there, and he's still thrown a ridiculous average and won very comfortably.
Yeah, as I say, he's just someone that he seems very hard, unless you're playing top level darts, to build a lead and run away from. He'll always find a way to just stay close, and he's got that much quality. The 11 and 12 darters are going to come. They're going to happen at some point. So unless you go like Littler did in the World Final and just completely blow him away, he's always going to be there or thereabouts. Like, he's just really hard to put to bed.
Yeah, definitely. Another man who is very, very hard to put to bed, despite starting off with 140 checkout, having 100 checkout to break and level up at 2-2. You just can't get near Luke Humphries at the moment, can you? Like, 6-2 winner over Josh Rock, who came out, clearly no issues with the soap in Glasgow. He's used to the soap in Glasgow, unlike the one in Antwerp, as we heard last week. But he just couldn't get near Luke Humphries, despite sort of playing relatively well again. And yes, he's in the same position as Bunting. He's down at the bottom. He's got no points. He's got no wins yet. But it is his first time up there as well. So he's probably we're giving him a bit more of a pass for now, I'd say. Like, if it carries on, he's gonna be in the same boat. But this was just really, really good darts from Luke Humphries.
Yeah, I feel for Rock a little bit, because he hasn't done too much wrong. He's took out a 140 checkout and he's been done 6-2 against.
Against most players, you go first leg at home as well. Like, I know it's not home. He's from Northern Ireland,
Yeah.
but as a Rangers fan and playing in Glasgow, like it's one of those places where he's going to get a lot of support and he's always going to be in a good position. He did an exhibition there, I think, a few days ago and had plenty of support as well. And you think, rock up there, pardon the pun, and firing a 140 first leg, you think, right, hello, here we go. This is where I can rattle my opponent. But Luke Humphries just does not rattle, does he?
No, I mean, I watched that from Luke. And it's very hard in the Premier League because we are just seeing short snippets. And I was like, oh my word, world number one Humphries is back. Yeah. He was just absolutely phenomenal. And it's almost unplayable. You know what? I feel for Rock because I do feel Rock will snowball. Once he gets one win, the shoulders will drop. We'll see the best of Josh Rock at that point. But tonight just wasn't his night, and there really wasn't a lot that he could do about it.
Yeah. My concern for Rock, and this is not in the Premier League, this is just in general, he is getting a lot of massive deflections. Now, we all know that the all-in-one, your K-Flex or whatever all-in-one you want to use is obviously the K-Flex, is very, very fashionable in darts right now. It's what 90% of darts players use these days, it feels like. I don't think they help him whatsoever. And whether he just needs to switch from the branded ones of his own that he uses to the new K-Shift, so it's got that little bit more give in it, or whether he needs to go back to using a flight and stem combination. But I feel like he gets bigger deflections off his darts than anyone else that I see throw darts on tour at the moment.
He does really smash into them as well, doesn't he? Like if he's got two in a bed, he's going hard.
And they're going off, like you'll see one, he's hitting the dart that's in the treble 20 and it's ending up in the 5 and the 1 a long way away from it. And that costs you a lot of points. And in these sort of tight games where it's short, fast format in the Premier League and you're playing against players who are playing as well as Humphries is, who's got his stuff absolutely nailed and it works for him and he's making little tweaks, but it's very tiny tweaks. I think that's a massive thing. And yes, I'm sure they are incentivized to use the only one because they're a lot more expensive for people to buy and the rest of it. But if you want to be the best darts player out there, you can still sell a branded K-Flex, but if you use something different, you still put your own brand on it and it works better for you, it might just be a good move for it.
Yeah, I think it would be, and I agree with what you're saying, and it might be the right decision, but I think it'll be an incredibly brave decision at the same time. Yeah. You know, if that's what's got him to the dance, so to speak.
Well, it's also the same thing. Like I sort of said this a while ago with Michael Smith when he changed his darts after winning the World Final and never looked like he could group them quite as well as he could beforehand. But you've just signed a big deal after winning the World Final for a new manufacturer and a different dart. It's very difficult to, whether you even contractually can do it is also another question.
Yeah,
it is very difficult. But surely you sell more Josh Rock merchandise if he's playing at the top of his game and winning a lot of matches than you do just because he's using those stems when he's up there. Because you sell a hell of a lot of little different types of darts and all the different versions that he's brought out, regardless of the fact that he doesn't use them himself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to profess to know the ins and outs of a darts player's contract.
No, me neither. I'm speculating massively, but
I would really, it would make me sad if there was something in your contract where you can't adapt to be the best player you possibly can be for a business purpose. Yeah. So I hope not. It wouldn't surprise me if there was, but as I say, that for me, the second business starts to affect the purity of any sport. It's a slippery slope. But
yeah, definitely.
I agree with what you're saying. Look, if Josh Rock rocks up and wins three nights in a row, his darts are going to sell a lot more than
exactly. And to be honest, he might rock up and do that, and he might do it with the exact setup he's been using tonight, and then I'll look like an idiot, and it wouldn't be the first time on it.
Yeah, very probably, mate.
Yeah. Right, we don't need to go on to game 3 because obviously we know that was a walkover. Slight little odd fact with game number 3 in that Luke Littler gets 2 points and a +1 leg difference. However, Michael Van Gerwen loses 6 legs on his, which I'm not quite sure how or why that is the case. But
It could
unless
get very interesting
wherever I
come
read
the
that
last.
earlier is wrong, it is. I believe that is the case.
I really hope something like that doesn't affect the playoffs.
Well, I think if it's a genuine withdrawal in the way that you are unwell and you can't play, like it's not just decided he can't be asked going to Glasgow, which fair enough if he did. Apologies to anyone from just offending people left, right, and centre. But if it's genuine withdrawal, why, if the person that's been withdrawn against only gets 1 leg difference, why are you losing 6? It feels a bit harsh.
Yeah, -1 seems. But then again, could there be a situation where in the last week, if you only
I
lose,
suppose that probably is the reason. Yeah, it's not a bad shout. You just get a mystery illness on the.
I mean, you'd hate it to come down to that, wouldn't you? But I guess it's probably there to try and stop someone pulling out. If the 50-50, I think, you know what, I'm safe. I can't really be asked. Let's spin it off. But
yeah, you're probably quite right with that. Not that we would ever be cynical, of course, about the way that people would do it. Right, on to game number 4 and the all-Welsh clash. We haven't got the Welsh correspondent here. He's still not in here. 3 nights in, and we've still not had him on, but I believe he is for a lot of you. Maybe next week, but certainly the week afterwards. I know he is available when some of us are off gallivanting down in Minehead having a curry. We will be back. But yeah, Johnny Clayton, the winner this time. It feels like it's been a while since we've seen Johnny come out on the right side of this game. And it has been a while. I don't know how many games it is in a row. It's about 8 or 9, I think it was, before this game that he hadn't won against his fellow Welshman, but was very, very good tonight.
I think they said on comms it's been 3 years, and I almost want to go and stat check that myself.
I'm literally trying to do it. It was 2023.
Just unbelievable.
And it was at the end of March 2023 in the Premier League on night 9, wherever that was, in 2023. If anyone in the chat knows that, throw it out there.
We've got a few 10 games, apparently, according to the comments. But yeah,
I've got 11 games, yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
But maybe there's a rogue one in there. It's me trying to count while I'm talking on Flash Score, so I'm not sure it might. But yeah, I can see 11 there.
But that's just a stat. You hear it, and you're like, how on earth has that happened? You know, Clayton, he hasn't been doing that badly overall. He hasn't been kind of flying for the full 3 years, but particularly recently, he's been on an upturn. And Price, he wasn't at the races tonight. Let's be fair, and that doesn't concern me about Gerwin Price in any way. I think he'll be absolutely fine. Next week he'll come back. What really impressed us about Clayton in this match is I feel like Gerwin Price is one of them players where if you give him an inch, he'll take a foot.
Yeah.
If you give him just the slightest little spark and reason to get excited and get up for it, all of a sudden he's going 6 perfect darts into the next leg. And Clayton just kept them at arm's reach. He just never, ever give him that catalyst to explode and get in the match. And he just managed the match really well. I mean, these double 16s, I don't think he missed a dart at double 16 at all. He was just very impressive.
I think I heard that in the final. Like, he hadn't missed one at all night until he missed 2 against Jan in the final, which obviously...
Yeah, he had 3 in hand, didn't he? It was
he had 3 in hand, so it didn't matter, and also we've just spoiled it. But everyone that's watching...
I was careful not to even mention the semi as well. But...
Yeah, everyone knows what happened. They wouldn't be watching as if not.
But he was just brilliant. And I always think with Johnny Clayton, I mean, what was his average in that? Was it just over 100 against Price?
I think it was just under at the end. I think he ticked under on like the last visit, potentially. But it was, 99.88 I've got here. So,
but when I look at Johnny Clayton, I almost think the players that are really tired usually at the end of legs, they really have an invisible +5 on their average.
Yeah.
Him and James Weir are the
It
first
is
two
that,
that spring to mind.
you feel like you say, 95 from them is 102 essentially from anyone.
They're going to compete with that number, and if Clayton can be about that 3-figure mark, particularly he's scoring at the right times was so perfect. As I see, he just wouldn't let Price build any momentum. If he can maintain that, he's going to be incredibly difficult to beat, especially in the short format.
Yeah, fully agree with you on that one. So we had our semi-final lineup. Jan van Veen up against Luke Humphries and Luke Littler up against Johnny Clayton. And I haven't got much to say about this first semi-final other than how has Luke Humphries not won this game as Jan van Veen won it 6-5?
If there was ever a Jose Mourinho park the bus of darts, it was that match. Honestly, if Clayton wasn't so magnificent, I think you could make the argument Luke Humphries was the best player tonight.
Yeah, I think you wouldn't be far off, yeah.
But somehow, and a bit like I was saying with Van Veen, he just doesn't let you get away. I think Humphries missed some big darts for 4-1, and then Jan took was it a 1 or 2 maybe off the top of my head?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was treble 2020, double 11, and he just wouldn't let him get away.
Yeah.
And that, as I say, talking about Jan's age, that's an old man's experienced trick. I think that's what is super impressive. The fact
he is old now, though, isn't he? Because anyone that's older than Luke Littler, he's 23, man. That's old in darts now.
He's planning his route out, isn't he? But the way he can, as I say, and it's not his first year on tour, but his first year being a real title contender and him being in conversations. The fact he can do that against a multiple-time major winner and reel him in at the end, for me, although he didn't play amazing, that's an impressive quality. And if he can continue that, it's hard to see the fall off. Yeah, it was
75% on the doubles or whatever it was. Almost Johnny Clayton like.
He's becoming, when I look at players, if they have 3 darts in hand to hit 1 double, there's not many I'd rather give a set of darts to than Jan van Veen at the moment.
No, fully agree with you on that. And like I say, it is really impressive. And it's impressive that he can beat people in multiple ways because he can blow you off the board with a ridiculous sort of performance. But also, he just finds a way of staying in games, like you say, and not letting you get away and just taking his opportunities when they come, which is a really good position to be in. There's so many players that we look at and go his A game's fantastic, but his B game's just nowhere near good enough. And that's why he carries on losing games and not getting over the line. But there is none of that with Jan.
No, his style is perfect for the Premier League.
Yeah.
He's going to pick up 2 points most weeks. And he'll probably win a few nights, let's be honest. And if you're Luke Humphries, you'll probably leave Glasgow scratching your head. Not sure how you've only got 2 points, and you probably can't beat yourself up too much. You've done very well, but he'll probably be wondering how that game got away from him at the end.
Is it a slight concern for Humphries that obviously he's making these little tweaks with his equipment and he feels like he's playing as well as we've seen him play at all? He's up there with when he was at his very best. But it does feel for me that he's doubling, and I don't know whether the stats fully say this or not, but it's just what it feels. This is just straight off the eye test. It feels like he is further away on the doubling than he has been in recent times. The scoring is probably better than ever, but the doubling, I think, has gone the other way.
He's just, when he's got 2 at a double, in that, run up to the world champs and when he was winning everything, you'd be like, he only needs 1. Whereas now, you're like, I still might have a chance in this.
Sometimes he's needing more than 3. I feel like we keep seeing him in the 20-odd % on the outer ring, and it shows you how well he's scoring because he's still always well over a ton in terms of his average. But if you keep missing those opportunities, that's too many. That's too many times where even if you've got 3 in hand, that you've got to come back again.
No, I completely agree. I don't think he'll be as concerned about the short format because I think all these players in the Premier League understand you make one mistake, someone does something brilliant.
It's literally all it needs, isn't it? Like one little error and you're done.
I think it's more the major final against Littler that he's just lost sudden death set. I think they might be the ones that may haunt him a little bit.
A little bit more, yeah.
But I think the Premier League, there is that context to it. But yeah, he's got to be. I don't know. I wouldn't say he's got to make changes because look, he's playing brilliant. As I say, he was possibly my player of the night.
Yeah.
But there's just a 1% he needs to find just to get him over the line, and he's so close to being back to what he was. And he's on the cusp.
He's literally, it is like you say, it's the tiniest little bit. He's so close, and I think it will come. I think he's going to continue to keep getting better. Like you say, he is making little changes with his setup, and like yes, he's doing it in little increments and not making wholesale changes, but even so, you've still got to get used to it. It's still slightly different. And like I say, he's only a couple of weeks into doing that. We'll see where it takes him in the next sort of few weeks.
I do absolutely love the Jan Luke. I know we've got Jan and Littler, but I don't know why Jan and Humphries just feel so well matched. You know you're going to get something exciting.
Yeah, it's a belter every time, isn't it?
It's just so good.
So on to the second semi-final then. And Luke Littler coming in a little bit cold, coming in everyone was cold apparently. I think it must be cold in that arena tonight, but coming into the second semi-final, having not played on the stage, it's always one of those where you're never sure what you're going to get. Sometimes it works well for people, and the first time up there, they're fine. Other people are already like to get sort of acclimated with the venue and be on stage and already have played. But this one was one where Johnny just didn't let him in, and I'm not sure whether him being cold coming up there really mattered. Johnny was just fantastic and won 6-1. Like, you're not going to get many 6-1s against Luke Littler.
I couldn't have said it any better. I think Luke was cold, but if I had to pick one player to go into a first 6 match cold in the world, it would be Luke Littler.
Yeah, most nights we see him there. I know it's a little bit later on into the night that he's played rather than when he'd usually be on, but realistically, it's only probably 20 minutes later than he would have played if he was playing fourth that night.
Yeah, and he's not a big practicer. He's not massive on the warm up board.
And these are things really that are well established.
But yeah, but a bit like Johnny with Price, he just never gave Littler that spark. He didn't let him get going. Double 16 was phenomenal. He was hitting the ton plus checkouts. I don't want to make the conversation about Luke being cold because it was just about Johnny being hot for me. He was phenomenal.
I agree. And like you say, with Johnny, you add 5, 6, 7 onto his average for what a normal person average is. He's averaged 101 or whatever it was in this game. Anyway, he's played ridiculously well. Like I say, I think that was the turning point in this game, was not so much the 106 to go 2-1 up, but the 110 in the next leg with Littler on 52 at that point to break through and get himself a lead of 3-1 at that point. That felt like that changed the game at that time.
Yeah, he just felt inevitable. Just like if Littler had a massive advantage in the score, Johnny was going 180. He was consistently hitting these 140s. Probably one of the best nights of scoring I've seen from Johnny Clayton. And as I said, the timing was always perfect as well. He was doing it. He just kept his foot on the throat of whoever he was playing all night. They were always fighting and scrapping to get any level of success out of it. And Johnny was just able to either pick you off or win his throw, win his legs comfortably. He was just brilliant.
Yeah, completely agree. So that was our final then. And it was Jan van Veen up against Johnny Clayton. And, well, he just got better again, didn't he? Like every game, he just got better. And Johnny has just absolutely demolished the man that sticks around in games and doesn't let you get away. 6-2 win in the final, 104.35 average, 9 140s across 8 legs. Another sort of 13-ton plus scores as well, 180 in there, 156 checkout to end it. Just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
He's almost unplayable. When he does that, especially in the first of 6, you know, if Clayton's going to average 104, a couple of ton pluses, a 156 in there, you've got absolutely no chance of getting anywhere near him. It's almost impossible. And it did feel that I think Clayton was 3-2 up maybe in the match. And it was like, is Jan going to just stick to him like glue and take it long and make it that one-leg shootout? And then he just went, no, 4 legs on the trot, just bang, bang, bang. It was just clinical. And I'm really happy for Johnny, because I was on after night 1, and him and Rock had a sensational game in the first match. I think they both averaged ton plus. And they come in the semis and he just couldn't get going. It was about an 85, and it was like, oh.
Yeah, it was. I think it was. That was the one, wasn't it? It was about 26 points different between game 1 and game 2 that he averaged.
Yeah.
It made no sense whatsoever.
I mean, Clayton's went and won that night, and he's dropped 6 legs. He was phenomenal.
Yeah, that's as dominant as we've seen anyone on a night so far. Like, Gerwyn Price has played really well last week. MVG was good the week before, and obviously good again last week. But that was dominant from Johnny tonight. That he's just not given anyone an opportunity.
I don't think there's any Dart fan out there that is annoyed to see Johnny Clayton lift the trophy. He's got to be one of the most lovable blokes in darts.
He's just a brilliant bloke, and he's just good to see. Someone that, again, could have missed out on this. He was one of the ones that was in with a shot of missing out. Looked like he'd made it by getting into the top 4, and then Jan knocked him back out of the top 4. And you thought, will he make it? Will he be in there? But he kept the faith in him, put him back in there, and, well, he's proven him right so far.
It's been brilliant. As I say, it was deserved. The best man's won on the night. He was brilliant, and I just hope. Remember when he had that spell of 3-4 years ago where it was like he was the best player in the world, and it kind of just ran out of steam before the Worlds.
Yeah,
that's like, is it back? Come on, can we maintain this now and keep it going? Because
tell you
when he's on form, anything from 100 to 170, it's got a real chance of going.
Yes,
he's just brilliant to watch.
I tell you what, how happy would you be, like, if he could keep this going all year and do it at the Palace?
Oh, seeing Johnny lift the world be brilliant. I mean, we've got the Welsh correspondent. He'd go missing for days.
Honestly, I think he'd spontaneously combust. Like, we may never see him again.
Yeah, I don't think there's a person out there that would be annoyed singing a Johnny Clayton victory at Ali Pali. It would be a lovely sight. And he's had to work very hard to get there. He's not someone that's burst on the scene. He's put the hard yards in. Oh, I'm getting all emotional just talking about the Cam. We're just hypothetical.
I know. Let's have a wonderful sight, and let's have Johnny Clayton on screen, because we've got a clip from him. As always, the hardest working man in darts, the famous Mr. Phil Bars, has got us a clip already. And we'll have a listen to Johnny. Once we're done, you can have you can pop over onto the channel and watch it in full. But this is what he had to say afterwards.
The first job was trying to get Gez out. That little thing of losing to him 10 times, that was a big relief, really, because, I've had a few chances against Gez before, but not taking them. So tonight I took my chances, and, it just got better. I didn't expect to beat, the best dart player on the planet, 6-1. So, and then to beat Gian in the end, it's my night. It's my night, and that's all that counts. Yeah, maybe, but, you've got to look at it. I know what I've got to do to get to week 17. I need points on the board, and so far, so good, So, that's what my aim is, to get to week 17, and then who knows. So, by winning, a few nights, 2 points on that board every week, it's hard to stop then on week 17.
Well, he's not wrong, is he? That's it.
No.
Just keep getting points on the board, and if you throw in a couple of night wins as well, you're going to be very, very comfortable in that top 4 race.
I mean, it's obviously been a very, very interesting start, and I think at the start of the season, I probably had 3 that I would definitely see her in the top 3, and although they may not have had the perfect start, I'd be very shocked if the 2 Lukes and Jan didn't get to the finals night.
Yeah.
But that fourth spot could be some
It's
race.
going to be seriously tight. I genuinely think we could be going in, like, last couple of years, we've gone in there and there's been potentially two players playing for one spot, and that's been it. But I genuinely think we could have 4 or 5 playing for 2 spots coming into night 16, and that's what we want. Like, we want chaos. We want it to be wide open, and I think if it carries on the way it is, like, people go on every year that they're tired of the format. They want something different. They want it to change. It's been brilliant so far this year.
Oh, if it's like this every week, it's brilliant. Like,
yeah,
it's what
exactly. And it sort of puts to bed any thoughts of whether we should be changing it up or making any changes. Right. Before we get on to predictions then, and obviously time for you lot to all get involved in the chat room. Make sure you're subscribed if you want to get involved. Otherwise, you can't. And give us a like while you're at it. We'll run through the table. Now, usually I go bottom to top, but because Johnny is now top of the table, we're going to start at the top. 9 points, 1 night win. Johnny Clayton is in the number 1 spot in the table, closely followed by Michael Van Gerwen in second. Despite not playing tonight, still holds on to that second place. 1 night win as well, 8 points on the board. Jan van Veen, debutant, is in third with 6 points. Gerwin Price is in fourth with 5, 1 night win as well, but no wins on any other weeks for Gezi at the moment. And then we've got the 2 Lukes. Humphries in 5th on 4 points, and Luke Littler on 4 points as well. A strange little stat in there that he is down as only having 1 match won, but has 4 points because he doesn't get a match won for the walkover, apparently. It makes no sense whatsoever, but he gets 2 points for it. And then we have got Stephen Bunting in 7th, courtesy of leg difference, 0 points, but above Josh Rock, who is bottom of the pile on 0 as well. So it is now time for and as if by magic, on the screen, we have the fixtures for next week. And it is night 4 of the Premier League from the SSE Arena in Belfast. Home night for Josh Rock. On 4th in the quarterfinals as well for him. Will that make a difference? We will find out next week. But we start off with a rematch of the semi-final from tonight, and Luke Littler up against Johnny Clayton. Littler's going to want some revenge here, Dan. Does he get it?
I mean, I would never pick against Luke Littler. Or I should never pick against Luke Littler, should I say it. But going off recency bias of what I've just watched possibly an hour and a half ago, I'm going to have to pick Clayton. I'm going to go a little bit closer, but I'm going to go Clayton 6-4. And you know what? Luke will probably come out and do him 6-0. Clayton will average 90. Luke will do 115. But I can't sit here and pick Luke Littler to beat him after that.
Yeah, you wouldn't be shocked, would you? But as we've sort of said, like, you can't. It's very hard to back against Johnny Clayton at the moment. And if he does win again next week, do we start to feel a little bit worried for Luke Littler at that point?
Possibly.
On the results, he could potentially at that point be in 7th.
Yeah, but that's a moment in time, surely. He's going to come out and be like,
just taking the piss. Like, we're not worried about it. In 4 weeks.
I mean, I did think that after tonight, I was like, ooh, but the boy's too good. He could rattle off 4 night wins in a row. Let's face it, and it's probably a matter of time till he does.
Yeah, that's it. He probably will at some point.
But yeah, I think after what I've seen tonight, Johnny's great. First matchup. I'm going to pick Johnny 6-4.
I'm looking at the chat room, and it's as split as I've ever seen it for a game involving Luke Littler and Johnny Clayton. Johnny is actually slightly ahead in the predictions I can see. I'm just going to rattle through them before I give mine. So we've got Littler 6-4 for Gordon. Stockport Mackham's got it 6-5 for Littler. Bob's got it 6-3 for Littler, and then we've got Ducky's got it 6-4 Clayton, Dan Lucas 6-3 Clayton, Daly's got it 6-3 Clayton, and Benion's got it 6-4 Clayton. And I can't get away from Johnny Clayton winning this one. So I'm going to add to the weight of Johnny Clayton predictions. And I'm going to say he wins 6-3. I think if it gets closer than that, I think he might be in a little bit of trouble. But if he can just keep himself ahead again, I think Johnny Clayton gets over the line as well. I don't think it's going to be split for this next one somehow, as Stephen Bunting takes on Luke Humphries. Is anyone in the chat room, before we come to your prediction, do you think anyone in the chat room is going to pick Stephen Bunting to win this one?
And if you do, please stop drinking in the week.
Yeah, that's it. Although it is the Fallout bar, so we do encourage the old yeah, now and then. Although I'm on a can of 7-Up there.
Oh, I'm being good as well, mate. I'm just on the water tonight.
Yeah, I'm trying to... a couple of weeks until mine, Ed. We've got to just give the old body a little bit of a rest for a while.
I can't say much bunting going on in the chat, if I'm honest.
Neither can I. Right, go on. Which way are you going?
How many legs am I going to give Stephen Bunting?
If any.
6-2. We'll see.
6-2 for Luke Humphries for you. I am going to go 6. So I'm going to agree with you. I think 6-2 as well. I think he will win a couple of legs. I think he's playing well enough to win legs, but he's not playing well enough to win matches at the moment for me. So yeah, 6-2 as well, which looks quite a common score in the chat room. Daly's got a bit closer. He's got it 6-4. Dan Lucas has got it 6-2, the same as us, as has Ducky and Gordon as well. Bob's got it 6-1, a little bit wider. 6-3 for Nico. Stockport Mackham's got it 6-2, the same as us as well, as has Bobsy. John's got it 6-0. He's going for the full whitewash.
I mean, if Humphries plays how he did tonight, it could well be the whitewash.
Yeah.
It really could be.
Absolutely agree. Daly's on the old red wine. Fully agree with that as well. Always a fan of the red wine. Not so much on the Strongbow with Gordon, but I mean, each their own. Enjoy what you like in the Fallout bar. Everything is welcome, but it is BYOB because we're not providing it. On to game 3, and hopefully we see a fit, ready, healthy Michael Van Gerwen back next week, because him against Gerwin Price at the moment just feels like a really good game, the way that they're both playing. Which way are you going on this one?
This is a really difficult one because I have no idea which version of either player will show up. So this is probably the hardest of the quarters.
Yeah, if it's Price from last week, then you're looking and going, he probably wins this. If it's Price from tonight, you think MVG probably wins it. And if it's MVG from before the first 2 weeks, then Price probably wins it in a 6-5 scrap.
Isn't it? I think Price, what happened tonight was an absolute blip. I think he's going to edge it in a 6-5 decider. I think it's going to go right to the death.
In the chat room, we have got 6-4 Price for Bobsy. Gordon's got it 6-5 MVG. Ducky's 6-3 MVG, a bit wider, as is Daly, assuming that he's feeling okay. Hopefully, he will be back and full and well, and it's not too much of an issue. Price 6-4 for Dan Lucas. Bob's got it 6-5. Price 6-4 for Nico. Benion's got it 6-3 for MVG. And John's with you, got it Price 6-5. I've gone to the chat room first because I have no idea which way to go, so I'm just filling time before I put my prediction. I think rested MVG comes back and nicks this one 6-5 next week. I've been religiously backing Price throughout the tournament so far, so I'm going to go the other way, and I'm going to take MVG to nick it 6-5.
I mean, just to echo what Daly was saying, could there be an interesting scenario where MVG isn't 100%, but he almost shows up to prevent the minus the -6.
Like he's got to do. Yeah, you can't.
But then you could counteract that if you lose 6-3 because you're giving Price a +3 at this. There could be a real strategic decision.
All sort of permutations to look at here, and this is where the whole rule book and the different permutations of it, that who knows what might happen. But
let's just hope
what are you more worried about? Are you more worried about someone else getting an extra couple of legs, or are you more worried about not losing 6 yourself?
Yeah, I hope it doesn't come to that. I hope it's just a bit of flu.
I think
he has a rest.
He'll be fine, and he'll be able to rock up back next week. That's what we all want to see. We all want to see a full night, as much as we enjoy an early night. Like we want to see all the games, especially ones as good as these are at the moment. And we round off the quarterfinals with the two debutants up against each other. Jan van Veen up against hometown man Josh Rock, as it is next week. Does Rock get his first points, or will Jan continue his assault at the top of the table?
I want to convince myself this could be Josh's night, his breakout night, and then we're going to see some steady performances and picking up points on a fairly regular basis. Because I think Belfast the night to do it. If he doesn't do it this night, other than when he plays Bunting in the quarterfinal, it's going to be quite difficult to see. But as we've discussed earlier on the show, Jan is just like dog poo on your shoe, isn't it? You just can't get rid of him.
That's meant in the most
complimentary and loving way, Jan, obviously. I think I'm going to have to go Jan 6-4. I just can't see how Rock's going to put him to bed and keep him out the game.
I do think that occasionally we see Jan a little bit affected by the crowd. And I think that could be something that we see next week. And it might, I don't think it'll put him off his game massively, but I think it'll irritate him enough that maybe he just drops a point or two. I think he'll still play well, but that might just be enough for Rock to nick it 6-5. So that's where I'm going with this one. And I hope I am absolutely wrong when I talk about that with the crowd, because it's not what we want to see. We don't want to see people booing and whistling and shouting out when people are throwing for doubles, but a bit of booing when they're on the walk-on and even when they get on the stage is fine, but when they're actually playing, let them play, and that's what we all want to see. But we all know what darts crowds are like, and as much as we want to see that, we know what we're probably going to get from a Premier League crowd with a home player.
Yeah, can't see them being too kind in Belfast, can you?
No, definitely not. In the chat room, we have got Jan 6-4 for Gordon. He's agreeing with you. Bobsy's gone with 6-3, Jan. So he's going, again, lots of boos and whistles, but he thinks he'll get the better of him still. Stockport Icons going heart over head, home win for Rock. Bob's gone for 6-4 Rock as well, as has Dan Lucas and as has Daly. Rock 6-5 for Nico. Jan,
a lot of Rock coming in, to be fair.
There is, yeah. Everyone fancying him to get off the mark and consign Stephen Bunting to the bottom of the table as the only man with no points at that time. And then finally, we have 6-1 from Jim for Jan van Veen, and Benny on sneaking in at the end with 6-4 for Rock. So now it is the toughest part of every week's predictions. Remember who you've picked for the first game.
Them down.
Oh, here we go. That's awesome. You're not coming up. No more of that. Right, quarterfinal. From your quarterfinal winners, who are your two finalists and who wins by what score?
So I'm going to have Clayton and Humphries in the first semi-final. I think Humphries is going to steal it in an epic. I think he's going to finally get over the line in a close one. And then I'm going to have Price for Jan. And I think Price is going to have a good week next week. So I'm going to see a Price 6-4. We have a Humphries-Price final. And Humphries will do it 6-3.
6-3 Humphries for you in the final next week. I've got Clayton and Humphries as well. And I do think Humphries will want to prove a point next week. I think I'm with you. I think Humphries makes the final as well. for the first time in this year's competition, which I know we're only 4 weeks in, but it still feels ridiculous that he's not made one yet, which just
How
shows
mad is it? We haven't had either Luke in a final yet.
No, utter bonkers at this point. And then I've got MVG and Rock. And I think, does Rock get a set? I think Rock, we do see a bit of a dip from MVG in a second game now and then. So I think Rock can get not just 1 point on the board, but can get to 3 with a win in this one, which leaves us with Humphries against Rock in the final. And I want to see the home win. I want to see the celebration. I'm going for it. I'm going all in. Rock wins the final. He's going to have to play well and win it by a margin, I think, though. I think if he gets to 5 apiece, I do not see him winning this whatsoever. So I think he wins it 6-3 if he's going to win it. I'm going the opposite scoreline of you and obviously different finalists. But yeah.
I hope you're right.
Josh Rock to win next week at home and get his campaign off to a start. What have we got in the chat room? Dan Lucas has got Humphries beating Price 6-4. Very similar to yours there, slightly closer final. Van Veen to Ducky. Humphries 6-4 over MVG for Benyon. Littler beating Rock 6-3 in the final for Bob. Humphries to beat Rock in the final for John. Humphries beats Littler in the final. Wait, no, Humphries. Sorry, I've gone too soon. That I was going to say we can't do that. Humphries beats Littler, then Price beats Rock, and finally Humphries beats Price in the final. There we go. He's gone the same as you on that one. And Littler 6-3, Humphries, Price 6-4, and then Littler beating Price 6-4 for Stockport Mackham in the final. So everyone's getting way more detailed with the predictions, and it's throwing me off there. We usually just and I love to see it. I'm very, very happy with it. But
somewhere with every match that we've said will be the right score somewhere between all of us. Will be bang on.
Surely. Well, that's the thing. This is what I was just about to say: is that there's a lot of different choices in there, and every single one of them seems plausible. And there's nothing in there that I look at and go, no, I don't fancy that. Like, I would not be shocked by any of those results there, which means that this Premier League is mint and it's just going back and forth, and you fancy everyone can win it except for Stephen Bunting, because nobody's got him even in a question of having a win. But
I mean,
other
if
than
Rock
that,
can find his feet, there's genuinely 7 people that can win in the night. As I say, if he can just get his feet in the door, it could be a brilliant Premier League this year.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, yes, he's bottom and he's struggling so far. But if he can win a game or can win a night, all of a sudden he's back in there, because he's not a million miles away from being in the top 4. He's one night win away from getting towards that top 4 as it stands right now. So he's not out of it by any means at this stage. And if he can get into it, it's just better for the competition. Got all 8 fighting for it. It could just be utter chaos right to the end. And
that's
that is, yeah, absolutely. Bring on the chaos. But yeah, that is us done for night 3. We will see you all again next week. I have no idea who's on next week. It might well be me again. We might even get Dan Simpson. I don't know whether you're available as well, Dan. Dave might be about. Colin might be about. We might have a 5-person Fallout bar at some point. If everyone's available, you never know. We don't even have a graphic for that. This could be chaos in that one. We'll have to put the old graphic from the centre at the side in small, and we'll just have us all in that box in the middle. But yeah, thank you everyone for watching. Make sure you go and watch Johnny Clayton's clip in full once we're done, and we will see you all next week.